I know that Directioners only read on Wattpad, but if you are a Directioner that actually reads physical contemporary romance books, then keep on watching. Also, look at my shirt. It says I have One Direction infection. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Steph, and today we are doing the very much requested One Direction songs as book recommendations. Ever since I did the Taylor Swift one, you guys have been spamming my comments with, do a Harry Styles version of this, do a One Direction version of this. So I'm doing a One Direction version today. So if you didn't watch my Taylor Swift version of this, then I'm just gonna explain what I'm doing. So basically, I take a song from One Direction that I think really represents a book that I've read, and I tell you what the book's about. I read the song lyrics, compare them, and why I think they remind me of each other. Like, if you like the song, you like the book. If you like the book, you like the song. I've been a One Direction fan since 2011, so I feel like I'm pretty qualified to be doing this video. Without further ado, let's get into the One Direction songs as book recommendations. If I'm looking like down, it's because I have my lyrics that I'm gonna read to you. I'm gonna do this one first because it is painful. Sorry. So one of my favorite One Direction songs is If I Could Fly from Made in the AM. It is so good and so sad. And one of my favorite books of all time is 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. There's a scene where the couple is dancing to If I Could Fly by One Direction. When worlds collide, I know. So not only is that song mentioned in this book, also the lyrics coincide with this story. This book is about Poppy and Rune, who have been best friends their whole lives and kind of always been like one of those like little elementary school couples that do everything together and they're dating, but like they're kids, so it's not really dating, but they grew up together, they stay together, they are dating for real in high school. And Rune finds out he's moving, and he's moving to a different country, and so Poppy is upset, he's upset, but they promise to do long distance and keep in contact even though it's gonna be hard. And then right when he leaves, Poppy, who was so in love with him, cut him off with no explanation, stopped responding, and stopped talking to him. He obviously was very mad about this. I think a few years go by and he moves back to their hometown and they confront each other. He finds out what she's been dealing with and going through, and then they spend the rest of the book working through her situation. This is probably the book I've cried the hardest in. It's young adult, so it's pretty immaturely written, so if that's not your style, then maybe you wouldn't like it, but literally taught me so many life lessons. I love this book so much. And the reason I compare it to If I Could Fly, not only because it's mentioned in this book, but is because of the If I Could Fly lyrics. If I could fly, I'd be coming right back home to you. I think I might give up everything, just ask me to. For your eyes only, I'll show you my heart for when you're lonely and forget who you are. I'm missing half of me when we're apart. That lyric, I'm missing half of me when we're apart, is literally what made me choose this song, not even the fact that it's mentioned in the book, but that specific lyric. Coinciding with that, I also chose the song Half a Heart because of this specific lyric as well. I'm half a heart without you. I'm half a man at best with half an arrow in my chest. I miss everything we do. I'm half a heart without you. I'm gonna read you the quotes from 1,000 Boy Kisses that are literally these two songs put together. There's literally an exact quote that's, I'm half a heart. This who I am now was due to a life devoid of you. Exact quote from the book. You'll always be mine, you'll always own half my soul. My heart slammed into a new kind of beat, one that knew it had the love of its other half. They call each other, and they say it so many times throughout the book, is you're half my heart. Then he was my heart, the heart freely given to me as a child, the heart that made up half of my own, the boy who, though breaking inside, loved me so deeply that he gave me this farewell. I literally have chills. Then there's a quote that's kind of a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say the full thing, but I'm gonna summarize it. It's basically like, if we're ever apart, you'll lose half your heart, but that doesn't give you permission to live half of a life. So that's why I choose Half a Heart and If I Could Fly for this book, because these two love interests are literally soulmates to the point where they are not a whole person without each other. They've grown up together and their lives are so deeply intertwined that without each other they don't feel whole, and they literally call each other half their heart. Like, I just read so many quotes from this book that show that, so that's why I chose those two songs for this book. Taking some other lyrics from Half a Heart, I found another book that relates to it, as well as the song Where Do Broken Hearts Go. I literally don't even want to show this cover because it is so bad, but it is literally a shirtless man. So I'm just not even gonna hold this up, but it's Ruthless King by Maya Hughes, and I promise it is so much more than this shirtless man. Like, this book is about a second chance romance and heartbreak, and I don't know what the publishing company was thinking with this cover, so I'm not even gonna hold it up. But Ruthless King is part of the Kings of Rittenhouse series by Maya Hughes. It is the third book in this entire series. You see this couple, Avery and Emmett, are so in love with each other in high school, and then throughout the series and all these companion novel books, through the other characters' perspectives, you find out that they broke up, something super bad happened, and you like don't know who to believe in the situation, and then you get to their book and it is a second chance romance, or like high school sweethearts to enemies to lovers. So I chose Half a Heart because of the lyrics in the beginning that are, so your friend's been telling me you've been sleeping with my sweater and that you can't stop missing me, but my friend's been telling you I'm not doing much better because I'm missing half of me. And that reminded me of how when Emma and Avery were broken up, they were so connected through this friend group, and the friends didn't want to pick sides and didn't know who to believe, leave, but the boys kind of stuck with Emmett and the girls kind of stuck with Avery. They would both talk about this breakup to their friends, and the friends would tell the other ones, and it was like all this drama because everyone thought they were literally gonna get married and they were so in love. And then I also chose Where Do Broken Hearts Go because Avery does something that ends up breaking them up. That is like, when you read it from her perspective and his perspective too, it is just so sad. And the lyrics to Where Do Broken Hearts Go is, counted all my mistakes and there's only one standing out from the list of the things I've done. All the rest of my crimes don't come close to the look on your face when I let you go. And that hurts because the scene when they break up, you see it, and he is so hurt that he like completely shuts down and can't even believe that that could have happened. And that lyric, like, look on your face when I let you go. Now I'm searching every lonely place, every corner, calling out your name, trying to find you, but I just don't know where do broken hearts go. Tell me now, where do you go when you feel afraid? Tell me now, will you ever love me again? That hurt. Will you ever love me again is when they're getting their second chance romance. So good. So Half a Heart and Where Do Broken Hearts Go remind me of Ruthless King by Maya Hughes. This series is really good if you like off campus. The series is companion novels, hockey romances, each boy in a friend group having a romance. All the girls are friends, they become a giant friend group. It has really great tropes. I love it. Okay, then I have the song More Than This from One Direction's first album. Reminded me a lot of Confess by Colleen Hoover. There's a lot of Colleen Hoover in this video because I just love her books so much. She has so many and they're all so different and I love them all so much. Anyway, it's about Auburn who moves to Texas, and you can see there's an underlying reason why she moved there, but you don't find it out for a while. It's kind of like a little up in the air mystery, but she's super desperate for a job and she's walking past, sees a help wanted sign outside of an art studio. The door opens, it's like fate. Owen is standing there saying, I really need help, will you help me with my art showing tonight? She agrees, she needs the money. He shows her around the studio. There is an immediate connection between them. You can literally feel it. Oh my god, their connection was like incredible. Auburn is immediately drawn to Owen, Owen's immediately drawn to Auburn. They agree to like go out after the show. They start talking. They don't see each other for a while, and it is their relationship that is very up and down. Auburn has literally been through so much. You see right from the prologue, her first boyfriend that she ever loved passes away. Owen and Auburn's pasts are actually intertwined like most Colleen Hoover stories, and you figure that out later in the book through a plot twist. I just really love this book. Auburn is so desperate in a situation that I don't want to spoil, but she ends up dating someone else and she doesn't love him. It's so obvious she loves Owen. Owen loves her, and she is with this other guy. You feel for her, like you're not mad at her. You feel why she's having to do all this. Such a tough situation. Chose More Than This as if it's from Owen's perspective, watching Auburn with this other guy who is such an asshole. I literally hate him. Anyway, as I walk up to your door, my head turns to face the floor because I can't look you in the eyes and say, when he opens his arms and holds you close tonight, it just won't feel right because I could love you more than this. When he lays you down, I might just die inside. That just reminds me like Owen seeing her with him. If I'm louder, would you see me? Would you lay down in my arms and rescue me? Because we are the same. You save me. And when you leave, it's gone again. And then I see you on the street, in his arms, I get weak. My body fails, I'm on my knees. So yeah, that is why I chose More Than This for Confess. I wouldn't consider this book a love triangle in my opinion because it's obvious she's never trying to decide between them. It is like a forced situation that if you were in her position, I feel like you'd do the same thing. So you really feel for these characters. Owen goes through stuff too. Colleen Hoover's books are just always like a cutesy romance with like meaningful and impactful characters, stories, and twists, and that's why I love this book so much. The next song and book comparison I have is Fool's Gold from the 4 album. I love this song so much. And November 9th by Colleen Hoover. So in this book, Fallon was involved in a fire that left like her entire body covered in scars. She's super insecure. She wanted to be an actress, but now she can't because she's all scarred. Her dad is so mean to her, and one day her dad is ripping her apart in this restaurant, and Ben overhears, comes up to the table and pretends to be Fallon's boyfriend and defends her. And that causes them to like strike up a little bit of a relationship. They kind of do have an instant connection, and Ben is so fascinated by her and so kind to her and attracted to her and complimenting her, and Fallon's never really experienced that since her accident. They literally hang out like the whole night, but the next day Fallon is moving to New York. They're gonna be separated and they just met. It's not like Ben's gonna move with her or like try anything, and they decide that every year on November 9th they're gonna meet back up just once a year to see like how each other are, and they just realize that they have this strong connection, so they don't want to lose that. In between that year they don't talk at all. They don't have each other on social media. They have nothing, no contact. You get to see each November November 9 from both characters' perspectives and everything that happens on those November 9s. And while you think it can't be that much, oh, it is. It is a lot, and there's a lot of drama. And the reason I chose Fool's Gold is because there's specifically a lyric in Fool's Gold that says, "And yeah, I let you use me from the day that we first met, but I'm not done yet falling for you." And wow, does that lyric perfectly coincide with a quote from this book. "All I care about is you, being with you every day, seeing you every day. I'm not finished falling in love with you yet, but if you don't want to finish falling in love with me, then you need to tell me right now." Like, how much more perfect? I'm not done yet falling for you and I'm not finished falling for you. Like, almost an exact quote. Please, that is literally a perfect comparison. I'm obsessed with this book. It's one of my all-time favorites. There's a plot twist in this book. I cried in this book. Some other lyrics from the song too. "I'm the first to admit that I'm reckless. I get lost in your beauty and I can't see 2 feet in front of me. And I know in my heart that you're just a moving part. And I know your love's not real. That's not the way it feels. And I knew that you turned it on for everyone you've met, but I don't regret falling for you." Read this book. I love it so much. Okay, change of pace. Now for a little bit of a steamy mafia romance read. I've recently been reading a lot of mafia romance, trying to get into it, and I actually found myself liking it. At first I was very hesitant and didn't like it because it is so traditional. Women are like objectified and used as like means of a gain. They're traded and married off and really don't have a say in anything they do in this mafia world, and the men are in charge, and it's very a patriarchal thing, and that is so hard for me to read. Like, my feminist heart is like crying. I'm like, girls, stand up for yourself, but I know it's a very dangerous situation. And this book is arranged marriage trope. I chose Bound by Honor to go with Stockholm Syndrome. So obviously you know what Stockholm Syndrome is. It's when you fall in love with your captor. So I'm gonna explain to you why I picked that. Bound by Honor is about Arya. She's a super good girl, always follows the rules because she's kind of forced to through the mafia. Her dad is super controlling. He arranged marriages her to the future like highest up ranking person in the mafia. His name's Luca, and he's a few years older than her, so they have to wait till she's 18 to marry her off to him. And he is so cold-hearted, does not like care about anyone or anything. He's literally like a very dark guy that does bad stuff. He's not a good guy, and he will admit that. Arya's terrified of him. On their wedding day, she's so scared. They get married, they have to move in together. Luca does have such a soft spot for her though. He's still a hard ass, not very respectful, and literally rude to everyone, but he does have a soft spot for her, and it slowly gets bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the book. And he is so protective of her. She literally can't leave their penthouse without a bodyguard. She can't really do anything alone, and she starts defying the rules. And I chose Stockholm Syndrome because who's that shadow holding me hostage? I've been here for days. Who's this whisper telling me that I'm never gonna get away? Like, I just imagine her saying that, being like, oh my god, I'm stuck in this house with this man. Even if he's like super attractive, I know he's a horrible guy. Even if he respects me, he doesn't respect anyone else. He's not a good person. I know they'll be coming to find me soon, but I fear I'm getting used to being held by you. Look what you've done to me. Look what you've done now. I'll never leave if you keep holding me this way. She's starting to get attached to him throughout the book, obviously. Used to sing about being free, but now he's changed his mind. I feel like that's her. She like didn't want to be part of this marriage, but as she falls in love with him, she's like, oh, like there's no point in fighting it anymore. Like, maybe I do like him. And then from Luca's point of view, all my life I've been on my own. I used the light to guide me home, but now together we're alone and there's no place I'd ever want to go. That's him. He literally has never loved anyone or anything ever in his life. He's never felt love. The boys in the mafia are raised to be like so violent and have no emotions, and Arya is like a light. It's definitely grumpy sunshine. He literally sees her as like an angel, falls in love with her, and it's like insane because from the beginning of this book you would never believe he was capable of loving her. And this is all from Arya's perspective, and then there's another book in Luca's perspective. That's just Luca Vediello, it's the name of the book, so you can read it in his perspective, which I enjoyed as well. That's why I picked Stockholm Syndrome and Bound by Honor. This book is definitely not for everyone. You have to like dark romance to like this. Okay, another book I'm going to be recommending is Tristans Venom by Penelope Douglas. This is a sapphic high school bully romance paired with the song She's Not Afraid. This song is literally about a girl who is not afraid of anything, is a badass, does crazy things, but she's afraid of falling in love. Boy, does that remind me of Tristans Venom. So this is a very back and forth toxic relationship, very repetitive. It's like super long because I feel like it's super repetitive, like fighting, we're together, fighting, we're together, we hate each other, we love each other, we hate each other, but it was entertaining. So this book is about Olivia. She is one of 6 siblings. She has 5 older brothers. Their parents passed away. They don't really have that much, but she goes to a private school with all these rich kids, and she is a lesbian. She's gotten bullied and like terrorized at her school, especially by this girl Clay, who is on her lacrosse team. Clay is so mean to her, ruthless, like will rip her apart. Liv kind of dishes it back, but she also kind of takes it, and you can tell there's such an attraction between them, and Clay Clay is like projecting and mean to her because she doesn't want to like girls. She's trying so hard with this boy and she just doesn't want to be attracted to Liv or fall for Liv, but you can feel the tension between them growing, and like the more they fight, the more you can tell how much they want to be together. You find out like Clay does have like a rough past too, and it does bring them closer. But this reminded me of She's Not Afraid, because the lyrics, she sneaks out in the middle of the night, tight dress with the top cut low, she's addicted to the feeling of letting go. She walks in and the room just lights up, but she doesn't want anyone to know that I'm the only one that gets to take her home. That reminds me of this, because when they're finally like on and off together, Clay's in the closet, Liv is getting frustrated, there's nothing she can really do about it because she wants to be with her, and Liv just wants to be like, please just be yourself, don't be afraid of what everyone's gonna think. She's not afraid of all the attention, she's not afraid of running wild. How come she's so afraid of falling in love? It's literally Clay. Not even falling in love, but falling in love specifically with Liv. She's scared of everyone's reaction. She's like the school popular it girl and doesn't know how everyone's gonna react, and she takes that out by bullying the shit out of Liv. So yeah, that's why I paired Tristans Venom and She's Not Afraid. This is probably the most proud of any comparison in this video. All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover and Spaces and Infinity by One Direction. These two songs together, it literally makes me want to cry. I'm gonna cry thinking about it. Okay, this book is a passive present perspective book, which Colleen Hoover is so good at, where you're watching a couple meet for the first time because both of their partners cheat on them with each other. So her boyfriend and his girlfriend cheat on them with each other, and they end up meeting through catching them. The past perspective, you're watching them fall in love for the first time in this like crazy epic way. Their relationship is so cute. And then the present perspective is them 8 years later, married and miserable. They don't talk to each other, they fight, they're so closed off. It's not working out their marriage, because this book does deal with infertility and how hard it is and the struggles and everything they go through. It is so sad. Like, this book is so sad but so good. Like, they are both really flawed characters. It is so hard to read because you root for them so hard, because you're like, oh my god, look how cute they are falling in love, and then the next chapter is like, oh my god, do you guys not remember how cute you were when you were falling in love? Like, it's so hard. And Spaces and Infinity are perfect for this book. So obviously the song Spaces is about growing apart from someone and not being able to fix it. So the lyrics are, who's gonna be the first one to start the fight? Who's gonna be the first one to fall asleep at night? Who will be the last one to drive away? Who's gonna be the last one to forget this place? We keep taking turns, will we ever learn? I literally could read this entire song because it's perfect for this book. The spaces between us keep getting deeper. It's harder to reach you even though I try. The chorus of the song is so perfect. Like, they're growing apart and they love each other, but is it enough? Because they're dealing with such a horrible thing to go through as a couple. Like, I literally can't even imagine. And Quinn is shutting down. She feels so bad. Who's gonna be the first one to compromise? Who's gonna be the first one to set it all on fire? Who's gonna be the last one to drive away, forgetting every single promise we ever made? They make a promise to each other and they start doing this thing together. Colleen Hoover is just so good at doing something in the past perspective when they were younger and bringing it back up later in the present perspective when they're much older, and remembering, oh my god, remember when we did that, to bring them back together. If a book ever has written letters to each other in them, you know you're gonna be bawling your eyes out. It's gonna be so good and so sad. This book has so many letters, like a whole chapter full, that it's gonna make me cry thinking about. We keep taking turns, will we ever learn? Who's gonna be the first to say goodbye? And then I also related this to Infinity because the combination of the two, it's perfect. So Infinity, it says, it's like I'm frozen but the world still turns, stuck in motion but the wheels keep spinning round, moving in reverse with no way out. It reminds me of how Quinn feels in this book. And now I'm one step closer to being 2 steps far from you. How many nights does it take to count the stars? That's the time it would take to fix my heart. I was there for you. All I ever wanted was the truth. How many nights have you wished someone would stay? Lie awake only hoping you're okay. I'd never counted all of mine. If I tried, I know it would feel like infinity. That reminds me of Graham's perspective, like how much he tries to be there for her and it's never enough. Just Infinity also fits perfectly for this book. This book is so good. Colleen Hoover, I just love you. Thank you for writing this book. It's a masterpiece. 5 out of 5 stars. Please read it. If you ever want like a really deep romance, read this book. Next is a fan favorite, The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I know that everyone's getting into Off Campus. This is my first favorite series I ever read in high school. I love Garrett Graham so much. He's like one of my favorite book boyfriends, and I knew I had to include this book in this video. So this is a hockey romance about Garrett, who is on the hockey team. He's like so good at hockey, except he's failing one of his classes and he needs to pass his class to be able to play hockey, and he sees that a girl in his class, Hannah, got a perfect score on the test, and he's like, oh my god, I need this girl to tutor me. me, please. He begs her, she says no, but then they strike up a deal because Garrett notices that Hannah is pursuing this guy in their class and he's not paying her any attention. So Garrett is like, okay, I'll fake date you kind of in front of him to get him jealous, to get him to like you if you tutor me. And so they have like this mutual beneficial relationship. They start hanging out a lot for her to tutor him and they start becoming friends and bonding, but there's still this underlying weirdness because like the reason they're doing this is to get her with someone else. So that is why I chose the song Change My Mind. This song is kind of a friends to lovers but like confused what is going on between us. So the lyrics are, I've never felt like this before, are we friends or are we more? As I'm walking towards your door, I'm not sure. Perfect for them because he's so confused. He also like never catches feels for anyone, so like when he's feeling all this for her, he's like, what is going on? If you say you want me to stay, I'll change my mind because I don't want to know, I'm walking away if you'll be mine. Basically the whole song is just about a confused, are we more than friends or are we just friends? And that's perfect for this book, and I love this book so much. Also quick read and very good. The song 18 by One Direction used to be my favorite One Direction song of all time, like since it came out until I turned 19. Once I turned 19, I was like, fuck that song, I can't listen to it anymore. Like now that I can't ever hope for it or relate to it. When I was 14, when it came out, I was like, oh my god, I'm totally gonna meet someone by the time I'm 18 and we can use this song at our wedding. Who's gonna tell her? I chose the book Addicted to You by Kristen Ritchie. The cover's kind of provocative. They have a discreet cover now, so you don't have to have this couple literally going at it on it, but they have a discreet cover that's really pretty. I'm probably gonna order them even though it's a waste of money, but it's my favorite series of all time. If you don't know, this is part of the Addicted series. You're probably sick of hearing about it from me, but the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series by Kristen Ritchie is 10 books, 3 couples, 3 different tropes, 6 best friends, story of character development, literally epic friendships and relationships and bonds between characters that go through so much. It's my favorite series of all time. I have a tattoo dedicated to them. I love it so much, and so you knew I had to include it in this One Direction video because One Direction and the Addicted series are probably the 2 things I care about most in this entire world. I chose Addicted to You because this is a fake dating trope. Lily and Lo, the 2 main characters, have been best friends since they were kids. They're super wealthy, like I'm talking top 1%. Their parents own corporations that are ginormous. They grew up together. They've always been just inseparably close. But as time goes on, Lo develops an alcohol addiction and Lily develops a sex addiction. I never realized the extent of how heartbreaking a sex addiction is and where it stems from and everything involved with it. And I'm sure you're judging right now like I did before I read it, but it is so hard to read. It's a real thing and just as valid as any other addiction. Like reading this and why this happened to her is so sad. But Lo and Lily decide that no one can know about their addictions. Only the 2 of them know about each other's addictions and they help each other, and so they come up with this plan to fake date, move in with each other, to distract Lily's sisters, who are the other characters in the series, to distract Lo's family, Lily's whole family, everyone in their entire like elite upper class world, because they don't want to be shamed for it, because they are like pretty big public figures. So they start fake dating in college. The first 2 books are pretty slow moving, but once you get to the 3rd book and there's huge bombs that drop and the plot really takes off. These books are really small, so it doesn't take long, but once the 3rd book comes, you can't stop. You're addicted. I literally love watching people's reaction to this series because it is truly addicting and you get so obsessed with these characters. They feel like your best friends. Like I love them so much. Well, anyway, I'm getting off topic. They fake date each other to cover up for their addictions, and their fake dating turned into an epic love story. Like I've never seen 2 characters so in love as Lily and Lo. They have 5 books in the series. They both have these horrible addictions that it's like a painful love, but they love each other so much that it's like they would do anything for each other. And that's why I picked 18 by One Direction. This literally says, we made a start, but it's a false one, I know. Baby, I don't want to feel alone. Literally, we had a false start. Fake dating. Kiss me where I lay down, my hands pressed to your cheeks, a long way from the playground. They grew up together. The playground reminded me like this is a friends to lovers song, a long way from the playground. They've grown up since then. I've loved you since we were 18, long before we both thought the same thing, to be loved and to be in love. They didn't realize how in love with each other they were until they had the realization and were like, holy shit, I've been in love with you this whole time. Like I'm stupid. All I can do is say that these arms were made for holding you, and I want to love like you made me feel when we were 18. We took a chance, God knows we tried, yet all along I know we'd be fine. So yeah, this song is just like a perfect comparison for Lily and Lo's story, and I love it so much. I love that song and I love this series with my whole heart. Please read this series if you have time to read 10 books, please. Next, I chose Red, White, and Royal Blue and They Don't Know About Us because this is a kind of relationship kept secret. Basically, the first son of the United States and the Prince of England, and they do not get along from the very start. They publicly fight and cause this whole spectacle, so their parents make them go on like these PR stunt like friend dates to make it look like they made up and they're friends again. They're forced to hang out all the time fine. Like, they still don't really get along, but then after a few friend dates, they start having a mutual understanding of each other. They start texting, they start becoming like best friends, and it's so confusing for both of them. Like, they don't know where they stand. Henry, the prince, is like so cute and wholesome, and Alex is so confused about what this relationship is and what's going on. Like, he feels himself starting to feel stuff, but he's always considered himself to be straight. They end up forming a secret relationship because they don't know how the public would react to this pairing, not only being gay but also dating each other. Like, they knew it would cause a whole uprising, and that's why I chose They Don't Know About Us, because this whole book is about sneaking around from 2 different countries to see each other. And such a cute story. Like, I love the 2 of them so much, and they deserve the world. The lyrics are, "People say we shouldn't be together, too young to know about forever, but I say I don't know what they're talking about. Because this love is only getting stronger, and I don't want to wait any longer. I just want to tell the world that you're mine. They don't know about the things we do. They don't know about the I love yous. But I bet if they only knew, they would just be jealous of us. They don't know about the up all nights. They don't know I've waited all my life just to find a love that feels this right. They don't know about us. They don't know what we do best. That's between me and you, our little secret." The kind of forbidden feel of this book, like the way they have to sneak around and like be careful, kind of had me on edge, because I was like, oh my god, like they're not being careful enough. At the same time, I was like, why can't they be together? Like, why is everyone so annoying? Just let the 2 of them be in love. Like, what is the big deal? And yeah, that's why I chose They Don't Know About Us, because it is just a perfect fit. Okay, I know I talked about this book in my Taylor Swift song to book comparison, but it is also very fitting for this video, and that's Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, and I chose the song Summer Love. It is perfect. This is a book about this girl Bea. Her mom passes away. She moves in with her dad, who she hasn't seen like in her whole life. She doesn't know this man, but she moves in with him. He ends up being wealthy. She came from like almost nothing, and when she gets there, she has like a new stepsister that she meets, and she gets immersed in the stepsister's friend group, and she meets this boy named Samson. But Samson is super rich, and she's like, we have nothing in common, but all the friends in the friend group are like trying to set Bea and Samson up. But Samson's kind of a little player, like he gets around with the other girls. Being in the same friend group, they end up spending all this time together, and then realizing maybe they do actually like have a lot in common, like we could hang out. He lives like right next door to her, and they end up like every morning watching the sunrise together, kind of just like from their balconies, but like they both know each other are there, and that's kind of what starts their one-on-one friendship. Like, they just go out together, go to the beach, and do all this fun summer stuff. But they agree that this is just a summer thing. Once the summer ends, we're going to college. We don't need to bring this with us. This is just for now, for fun. No strings attached. Let's just have a fun summer together. So that's the deal they strike up, but obviously it doesn't go to plan. It's really hard for them once it's approaching the end of summer, and then there's plot twist and all this craziness happens. So I chose Summer Love because it's literally about falling in love with someone in the summer and then not seeing them again. It's literally, can't believe you're packing your bags, trying so hard not to cry, had the best time and now it's the worst time, but we have to say goodbye. There's literally a scene that reminds me exactly of that. Don't promise that you're gonna write, don't promise that you'll call, just promise that you won't forget we had it all. Because you were mine for the summer, and now I know it's nearly over. Feels like snow in September, but I always will remember that you were my summer love. Make the last time just like the first time, push a button and rewind. Don't say the word that's on your lips, don't look at me that way. Oh my god, there's like a part in this book where like they want to confess to each other, but they're like, no, it's not the time, like we're about to separate. Please don't make this any harder, we can't take this any farther, and I know there's nothing that we can change. This comparison is so good. Okay, next book is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I'm pairing this with Change Your Ticket because this book is about this girl Kala who goes to Alaska to visit her dad, and when she gets there she meets a super brooding guy who's really close with her father, so they're kind of like stuck together. This is an enemies to lovers for sure. They do not get along from the start. He kind of gives her a hard time, but he's very attracted to her. They have a lot of tension between them. Her time in Alaska is temporary. She's not going to be there long. Eventually she is going to go back to her big city in Canada where she's from, and she doesn't want to turn out like her mom, who lived in Alaska with her dad and ended up leaving because she hated it there. And Kala knows she's not meant to be in Alaska, living in the middle of nowhere, and knows that it's wrong of her to pursue this guy and end up just like her mom did. So I chose Change Your Ticket because when it gets to the end of their little rendezvous together, the lyrics just go really well with it. Like, watching you get dressed messes with my head, take that bag off your shoulder, come get back in bed, we still got time left, this doesn't have to be over. You should probably stay for a couple more days, come on, let me change your ticket home. Don't go, it's not the same when you're gone, and it's not good to be all alone. That just reminds me of when she's finally leaving and he doesn't want her to leave. She doesn't even want to leave, but she knows that she'll be unhappy if she stays. And they're like, well shit, he loves Alaska with his whole heart. She does it and knows that she would be so unhappy if she stayed there. But is there love enough to keep them together? Will they be able to compromise? What's gonna happen? I love this book. The build-up was so good, like the enemies to lovers tension, and like I literally could feel the tension off the pages, how much they wanted to like jump each other's bones. The next book I have is another Colleen Hoover book. Don't hate me, but maybe someday. I feel like I don't talk about this book enough on my channel, but one of the books that first got me into contemporary romance. I'm comparing it to Something Great, underrated, amazing song. Maybe Someday is about this girl who realizes her best friend and her boyfriend have been hooking up behind her back, so she has nowhere to go. She can't move in with her best friend, she can't live with her boyfriend, she's stranded. Her neighbor ends up inviting her to stay with them. They have like a few people that live there, so he's letting her stay. They have a room, and she's a singer-songwriter and he is a musician as well. He writes songs, plays a guitar, and once they realize this about each other, they're like, oh my god, let's collaborate and make some music. He has a girlfriend. He kind of has like a tough situation. He gives off a very mysterious vibe, but this book is one of those books where it's like they need to be together, but it's so hard. There's a reason that he can't leave his girlfriend. There's just so much longing for each other, and it's so hard, and like I know where both characters are coming from, and it's frustrating. Just beautifully written, and I love the music aspect of this book. I loved their dynamic is so unique. I compare this to Something Great because the lyrics, one day you'll come into my world and say it all. You'll say we'll be together even when you're lost. One day you'll say these words I thought you'd never say. You say we're better off together in our bed. Kind of reminds me of Sydney being like, I just wish he could be with me one day, maybe someday. Maybe someday we'll be together. I want you here with me like how I pictured it, so I don't have to keep imagining. Is it too much to ask for Something Great? The script was written and I could not change a thing. I want to rip it all to shreds and start again. One day I'll come into your world and get it right. I'll say we'll be together here tonight. You're all I want so much it's hurting. I love this book so much. I want to reread this. I haven't read it probably in like 4 years, but it is like one of those books where you're like, oh my god, I literally don't know what I would do if I was in their situation. Like, what would I do? I don't know, because it's like a tough one, but their dynamic and their relationship, they're friends to lovers through a lot of adversity. Okay, so those are all of the song to book comparisons I'm going to be talking about in this video. I hope you enjoyed and got a lot of new book recommendations. If you are a Directioner or if you're a book lover, I hope that this put you on the One Direction wave and you found songs to add to your bookish playlists. I love doing this video. If you want to see me do this video with other artists like Harry Styles, who's my other favorite artist that I haven't done this for yet, let me know because I definitely will. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more and give this video a thumbs up. Follow me on my other social medias. They're all linked down below as always, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Bye!